Good morning, everybody. We are moving along with our edge prospect evaluations, and now we're going to do guys who I believe are going to go on day two. These are the day two edges, and this first set are going to be edges who I believe will go in day two, but I do believe have the opportunity, a realistic chance to bump up into the first round. So there is some upside here for these guys to go within those first 31 picks. But if I had to guess, I'd say they go early day two. Now, the title of this video is already a little bit of a misnomer because we're going to start off with a guy who I don't know if he's really an edge. What I do know is that I do like him. I like him a lot. It's Adetomiwa Adebawore. Apparently they call him Tommy, and I guess that's what I'm going to call him. Northwestern, 22 years old. This is another great example of a guy who played a good amount of edge in college, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do that in the NFL. He's 282. He's actually a little bit heavier than collegiate Cansey, to give you guys an idea of what we're dealing with here. So I'm going to say it right now. If he makes the move to the NFL successfully, I think it'll probably be because he moved to the inside full time with maybe a little bit of edge flexibility. 34-inch arms almost, 10.5-inch hands. His combine was off the charts. 4.4940, which is, that would be good for a normal edge player, but for a guy who's going to play on the interior, it's insane. 1.61 10-yard split, and therein kind of lies part of the issue, right? Like, he's got that really good 40 time for an edge player, but he doesn't have the crazy good explosion. That 10-yard split, it's good, but it's not really what you would expect a 4.49 guy to be. 37.5-inch vert is also excellent. 10 foot 5-inch broad, 27 bench press reps. He had an awesome combine, no doubt about it. Most big boards have him in the second. That's where the aggregate has him. Hasn't been super productive in college. He's accumulated 74 tackles over his last 24 games, 17.5 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks. Fairly productive, but he is a little bit of a combine warrior. His combine performance really put him on the map here. So, super versatile with his alignments. He lined up inside and outside at Northwestern. You watch tape of him, you can immediately see him moving inside, outside, all over the place. 4-eye, 5-tech, 3-tech, edge, all that stuff. His size and quickness combination gives him a chance to succeed in the NFL as an inside player and an outside player. I'm not ruling out him ending up being good as an edge. He's got that crazy good length. He should be able to block shed effectively. He's going to be strong against the run because of his leverage advantage. Strong hands, skilled at gap shooting, makes plays in the backfield constantly, always gives maximum effort, and he should be a plus locker room guy. So a lot of stuff to like. But again, I just look at him and I go, how are you going to be a great edge rusher? You don't have great bend. He doesn't have the amazing bend that you like. He needs to prove himself strong enough to hold up on the interior on every snap. And so far, I mean, look, he does a lot of stuff outside and plays some inside. He's going to have to go out there and prove that he can hold up on the inside every snap, because I think that's where he'll be best in the NFL. Sometimes he has the clowny thing going where he can't quite finish the plays he starts. But I'm willing to take a shot here. I think he's a great fit for a 3-4 end with playmaking ability. He can be like a Shelby Harris, a younger Shelby Harris type. He might have to get a little bit stronger, but I'd take him at 37. I would take him at 37 and feel pretty good about it. I will grant you, Combine Warrior, but the combination of ideal 3-4 end size and crazy athleticism is very, very appealing to me. I don't think I would take him at 20. Maybe I'd take him at like 26 or 27, though. All right. Next up, we have B.J. Ojulari, brother of New York Giant Azeez Ojulari. LSU, 21 years old, very young, and that's going to be a part of the evaluation here. 6'2", 248 pounds, 34.25-inch arms, 10.5-inch hands, 32.5-inch vert, 10 foot 6-inch broad, pretty good there, not great. Pretty much all the big boards have him in the second round. One has him in the third. Probably going to be about that second round pick with a chance to be a surprise late first round pick, I think. Over the last 2 seasons, been fairly productive for LSU, nothing over the top. He was actually a little more effective in 2021. partially because he missed a little bit of time in 2022. But Ojulari, pretty productive, not uber productive, moderately productive, and definitely an intriguing prospect that makes sense to me as a second rounder. Great in the locker room. He's pretty skilled with his hands when he's engaged with offensive linemen, his hand placement, using hand counters and stuff like that to get free. Great movement skills in space. He's got experience in multiple roles. He's played inside and outside for the LSU defense. Overall, I think he's a great fit for a 3-4 outside linebacker. I think that's going to be his perfect role in the NFL. He's explosive and fast as a pass rusher. I know we don't have the full slate of testing numbers because he only did the jumps at the combine, but he is pretty explosive and pretty fast. He's got great bend as well. He's one of those guys who can just get really low as he's cutting off the edge there. Excellent in chase down situations on running plays. If you run away from him, he's great at running down the line of scrimmage to chase the play down. And he's young to where he should get a lot better just because he'll fill out physically and advance mentally over the next couple years. That's something you're getting that you're not getting with like Will McDonald. So that being said, I think he could stand to get a little bit stronger. And again, he probably will. He's 21 years old. He can get exploited in the run game. He's one of these guys where if you run right at him, he's going to have a hard time dealing with taking on the blockers head on. So it's a little bit of the Darrell Taylor stuff. But that is not that uncommon for 3-4 edge players. He still needs to work on his block shedding. I do think he uses his hands well, so I think it'll come along. But right now, not a great block shedder. Sometimes he seems a little indecisive. Again, that's like the mental part of the game that I think he's maybe needing to advance a little bit further in. And he's maybe a tiny bit undersized. I don't think it's a big deal, personally. 6'2", 248 pounds, that's okay. So I think there's a lot of things to really like with BJ Ojulari. He's bringing a lot to the table right now, and there's every reason to believe he should make good progress in the coming couple of years just because of age. He's got great length as well, which means that he should have no problem becoming a great block shedder, which is something I mentioned is possibly having to work on. And I would make him an okay target in the early second. I'm definitely more intrigued in the mid to late second. You get him in the mid to late second, I think you are accounting a little bit for the fact that he's a little bit of a work in progress right now. But if you get BJ Ojulari with like the 51 pick, I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty happy with that. If you do it at 37, I don't think I would dislike it, but I don't know how much I would like it. Because I do feel like there's quite a bit of stuff for him to work on, and you're not going to get immediate returns. Okay, one more guy who I think has a shot at sneaking into the first round here. It's Felix Anudika-Uzomah of Kansas State. And let me tell you, this is one of my favorites. This guy grew on me the more I looked at him. Only 21 years old, so he has all the advantages of a Ojulari in terms of assumed progression. 6'3", 255 pounds, 33.5-inch arms, 9 5/8 inch hands. ESPN actually already has him as a first rounder. All the other big boards say second round. The database says mid-second. Seems reasonable to me. Had really strong production these last several years for Kansas State. In 14 games last year, he had 11 tackles for loss and 8.5 sacks. The year before, he was actually better. He gave you 14.5 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, and 6 forced fumbles. He has 8 forced fumbles in the last 2 years, which is, again, a skill. So you look at Felix, the college production is off the charts. Good lateral agility. I think he's going to be able to handle the non-linear movements of being a outside linebacker in a 3-4, where sometimes you just have to move in non-lateral ways. He's got a wide range of pass rush moves, which is aces for a 21-year-old. A lot of these 21-year-olds that are not going to be that advanced in that area, this guy, he's got those pass rush moves. He's got pretty good strength. This is not a Darrell Taylor who just gets pushed around sometimes. No, he's pretty good. His run defense is actually good because he's long enough and he's powerful enough to hold up. He's got great bend around the edge as well. This guy's the full package, man. This guy gives you the speed off the edge. This guy gives you the bend. This guy gives you the dip and rip. This guy gives you the holding up against the run because he's strong enough. He's got decent length. He's the whole package, man. Pretty much. Always giving high effort. Very explosive at the snap. And I don't think he'll have any problems fitting in a 3-4 and a 4-3 as an edge rusher. So I don't have any real concerns about him fitting in on this defense or any other defense we care to run. Now, he is a little bit raw. I don't think it's as raw as you would expect someone of his age. But he is a little bit raw in his technique with rushing. That's going to come with time. He's a little top heavy, so he loses balance occasionally. That's something that may not get better because he's just naturally built a little top heavy. And he also did some interior rushing stuff in Kansas State that's not going to work in the NFL. That I seriously doubt he slides inside and has much of an impact at the NFL level. But Felix grew on me like crazy. And honestly, by the time I was done looking at him, I was almost in a place where I was like, yeah, I would take this guy in the first round. I think he's ready to contribute now, and he should improve massively later. You're getting the best of both worlds here. He should become an every down player. He should become massively better in the coming years. And again, he's ready to go now. This is not an instance where you're like, okay, it's going to be a year before he really starts doing stuff. I think he can start doing stuff now. It's not going to be perfect, but you're at least going to get a Boye Mafe level of contributions from him, I think. So I really like Felix. I am definitely willing to take him at 37. I would love to get him a little bit later if the current big boards are correct. But I'll say, I'm not even against taking him at 20. This guy really did it for me more than a lot of the guys that I was expecting to do it for me when I started this process. So, Felix Anudika-Uzomah, one of my favorites. And I'm hoping to be able to get him at 37, but I'll say this. We get him at 20, I'm not going to say I'm going to love it, but I think I'm going to like it. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks.